It has officially been reported that Ben Simmons is not going to be attending the 76ers training camp, and he has told the team he no longer wants to play another game for the Philadelphia 76ers. As all of the talks are now focused on where Ben Simmons is going to go in the future, how much he's worth, and how much the 76ers are willing to give up for the three-time All-Star. And in this video, I will be going over what could be a potential trade with the Toronto Raptors, how he could fit with this team, and how much the Raptors are willing to give up in a trade with the 76ers. But before I do that, I just wanted to say that if you do enjoy this type of Raptors content and want to see more of it, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to this channel. I just recently hit 1,000 subscribers in just over a month, and I just wanted to say thank you to literally every single person that has supported me along the way on my journey, and there will be plenty of more from this channel, as this is just the beginning of something special. Now, before I talk about the potential deals that could involve a Ben Simmons trade to Toronto, I just wanted to go over some of the rumors or things people talk about when they talk about Ben Simmons. It seems as if almost every single person forgot just how good Ben Simmons is in the NBA and just how much potential he still has. The negative things people do say about Ben Simmons do come with reason, and they are because he is a horrible three-point shooter. He shot the ball terribly from the free throw line last year in the playoffs, where both things did absolutely limit the 76ers playoff success, since he was a complete offensive liability in crucial games. But people often forget that this could simply just be because there are much bigger issues going on in the 76ers organization, including their development staff, than just Ben Simmons alone. Have you ever thought to yourself that maybe the coaches just may not have been using him properly, or his playstyle just does not pair up with Joel Embiid's, since he is one of the best post players in the NBA who is in the paint consistently clogging up the lane? People need to understand that maybe the situation for Simmons just isn't the right one whatsoever. Simmons has only ever had two coaches in his NBA career, one being Brett Brown, who I believe should have been replaced long ago due to his inability to win in the playoffs, and frankly, he has only ever played on one team in the NBA. This is also the exact same organization that drafted Markelle Fultz, and literally not a single soul understands what went wrong with him under the 76ers organization, as he practically forgot how to shoot a basketball during his short time there. Moral of the story: Ben Simmons deserves another chance to play in the NBA under a new coaching staff and with a new team to prove his NBA abilities once again. And I think the world deserves to give him another chance, as he still has accomplished many things in the NBA and is still very young. Now, if you ask me, would I make the trade if I was Masai Ujiri? The answer to that question is absolutely, but it would have to come at the right price. I still see the potential that Ben Simmons has, and with the right coaching staff that has proven to have developed the shots of their young prospects, aka the Toronto Raptors, I think Simmons can become what was expected out of him when he was initially drafted with the #1 overall pick. In no way would I agree to a deal that saw the Raptors giving up a piece of their young core on top of multiple first-round picks like the 76ers were asking for but got no interest in. But to be quite honest, the 76ers backed themselves up against the wall, as I believe his trade value has taken a massive tumble downhill. As Ben stated, he doesn't want to play another game for the organization. It leaves the 76ers no choice but to trade him, and if teams hold out long enough, the 76ers will eventually give into a deal where they can at least retain something in exchange for Simmons instead of just letting him walk. This is where the Raptors could come into play. As I mentioned earlier, I would accept a Ben Simmons trade if I were the Toronto Raptors, but only for the right price. This would most likely mean that it would be quite the steal of a package for Simmons, but this is something that could very much be on the table in a couple of weeks, depending on how the 76ers situation plays out. I am very interested in trying to figure out which players would be available if this trade became a reality for the team, but it can honestly, in my opinion, involve any player on this team other than OG, Scottie, Siakam, Gary Trent, and Fred VanVleet. If I were to guess, I would say that the trade could be centered around Chris Boucher, Goran Dragic, and a first-round pick, which has been some of the rumors that have been circling around. But obviously this trade could have more of our pieces on the move as well. If I were the Raptors, I wouldn't give up any of the 5 players mentioned above, since acquiring Ben for one of those players would drastically change the projection of this team, and honestly would defeat the purpose of even acquiring a guy like Simmons, since I would still feel like we'd have plenty of work to do in order to be good enough to win in the NBA, since we would have given up so many key pieces. Now, in terms of how Simmons would fit in with the Toronto Raptors system, it's gonna sound a little bit crazy to say, but I think Simmons genuinely could be an almost perfect fit on this team by how this team has been built, and he especially fits the timeline of the direction we're going in. All summer long and for some time now, Masai and the front office staff had been picking up guys that are all incredibly athletic, have phenomenal NBA frames, and could all be future lockdown defenders if of course developed properly and they reach their top potential. The crazy thing about Simmons is he is almost exactly what the Raptors have been searching for all offseason, but he's already performed consistently in the NBA, has made multiple All-Star teams, and has 2 All-NBA defensive first team honors. Yeah, Ben Simmons is not perfect and he does have massive flaws that need to be heavily worked on, so he isn't an offensive liability in the playoffs, but I think that if the Toronto Raptors experimented how they want to play him on the court, I would have high hopes in Nick Nurse figuring out the secret recipe to an efficient Ben Simmons in the playoffs, or at least more efficient than what he was with the 76ers. Something the 76ers couldn't really do with their lineup was playing Simmons at the center position solely because Embiid is obviously the best player on the team and happens to play that position as well. Another thing was the fact that the team was trying different ways to make the duo coexist on the court in order for the team to succeed, rather than just playing one of them at a time. As we know, this strategy had failed for the 76ers, as we were almost accustomed to poor playoff performances year after year, and were bombarded with plenty of chemistry issues when the two were on the court together, consistently being the narrative year after year. But this is something that the Raptors are sort of building their roster towards in order to play the way they feel could be the future of the NBA, and that is by playing small ball with having multiple players that can guard 1 through 5. For some time now, teams have been very successful playing small ball in the NBA, but I think that with the talent that the Raptors currently have, and all of their potentials are still very much limitless, Ben Simmons could be the final key to solidify a young core that could have the potential to win championships in the future. Ben Simmons at the 5 would allow his game to revolve less and less on 3-point shooting and allow him to focus on what he does best. This lineup change could be how Ben Simmons evolves to that next level and finally silences his haters. Think of him as the Draymond Green 2.0, as if we look at the two side by side, Simmons is listed as 6'9", 240 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan, while Draymond is listed at 6'6", 230 pounds with a 7'1" wingspan. The Warriors were very successful using Draymond Green at the center position during their glory days, and yes, I know they did have Steph and Klay to help carry the offense, but nonetheless, Draymond was never considered a defensive liability in this lineup, and Ben Simmons is a taller human being who weighs more than Draymond, who is also capable of holding his own down low in the post, as they are both defensive freaks. If the Raptors play him at the 5, not only would this be one of the most deadly fast break teams in the NBA, with everybody in the starting lineup being able to push the floor, this lineup would be very scary as they are incredibly versatile. Nick Nurse would have thousands of combinations of different lineups to throw out there, one of them being my personal favorite of Fred at the 1, OG at the 2, Scotty at the 3, Siakam at the 4, and Ben playing center, which could absolutely be terrifying for opposing teams. The biggest problem that I see with this trade not going through with the Raptors is simply just not having enough pieces of value that are available for the 76ers to acquire from us. But moral of the story is that if we do end up acquiring him in a trade, I really want the narrative of Ben Simmons being bad at basketball to go away and give him a chance to succeed once again. There isn't enough evidence to prove that that theory simply due to the small sample size and him being limited to one system with one team. I believe that with Nick Nurse's style of play and how he excels at trying new things and making many changes to lineups, he could find a way to get the best version out of Ben Simmons on the floor. For the right price, Ben Simmons would be a fantastic and underrated pickup for the Toronto Raptors, and I would honestly love to have him a part of this team. With that being said, and this video coming to an end, let me know what you guys think of the Raptors picking up Ben Simmons in a possible trade based on everything that was said in this video. I hope all of you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button and even subscribe, as I am truly grateful for all of you who helped me reach 1,000 subscribers in such a short amount of time. Thank you all and have a great night.